RFK Jr. has been hard at work doing the very things that he said he wouldn't do. He said that he wouldn't get rid of any of the vaccine board. He wouldn't touch vaccines. You know, vaccines are the big thing with him, right? We all knew he was an anti-vaxxer, is an anti-vaxxer, and he has removed all current members of the CDC Vaccine Advisory Committee. These are the very people, doctors, by the way, I know scientists and doctors are not much in favor these days. RFK Jr., not a doctor. Doctor of disorder, maybe. But the entire 17-member advisory committee on immunization practices, that board which advises the U.S. Centers for Disease Control on the vaccine schedule, the required coverage of immunizations, that whole thing is going to be tossed, retired, and replaced with new members. Kennedy announces this in a Wall Street Journal op-ed. He said that he has the authority to appoint and dismiss members who typically serve 4-year cycles, but removing the entire panel prematurely is unprecedented. Kennedy said that a number of the panel's members, traditionally pediatricians, epidemiologists, immunologists, other physicians, they were, quote, last-minute appointees of the Biden administration. Without removing the current members, the current Trump administration would not have been able to appoint a majority of new members until 2028, he wrote. Those members are not political appointees, but Kennedy, a longtime critic of federal vaccine policy and vaccine safety, is saying that the current group is rife with conflicts of interests. So Kennedy is someone bent on breaking the immunization schedules and recommendations as they have been sitting in the U.S.
And it's, as we had the doctor on earlier this week, it's very confusing for people to know what the current vaccine recommendations are. When you go to the pharmacy, are you going to be able to get the shot that your doctor's recommending for you? What's going to happen?
People have even commented in the chat, I couldn't get
Yeah.
the COVID shot that I wanted. I'm 62 years old and I want to get a COVID shot, said one person I remember in an email. If you want to reach us by email, it's themarkthompsonshow@gmail.com. Kennedy had previously pledged to Senator Bill Cassidy, who's a Republican from Louisiana, that he would consult with him on filling key roles on vaccine advisory boards. Bill Cassidy, this Republican from Louisiana, is a chairman of the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee. So Kennedy said, hey, I'm gonna consult with you, and I will maintain this board without changes. He literally said that. So much for his word and so much for what he said. The response has been strong from the medical community. Here is one doctor.
RFK Jr. just fired the group of experts that advise the CDC about vaccines. These are people who are true vaccine skeptics because they know how to make a vaccine. They know what the scientific papers are. They read them. They produce them all the time. And they are the ones that look in a skeptical eye whenever a new vaccine is introduced, whenever a new version of the vaccine is introduced, to determine if it's safe and effective for the public. There is no group of brighter and better scientists than that. It would be like taking all the scientists at NASA and saying, we're going to toss you guys out and fire you and replace you with guys who happen to make paper airplanes once. RFK Jr. promised in a Senate confirmation hearing that he would not fire these people. That's why he got the confirmation. He lied to them. As he has done so many times before in his career, he blatantly lied to them. Said what they wanted to hear so he could get the job, so he could max his agenda, which is not vaccine safety. He said we want a new beginning. We want people who are skeptics. These are the true skeptics. Now, he doesn't understand that because he's never taken a science course in his life. But these are the people who have the credentials that beat all the other credentials, and he fired them. This is a bad day for you. It's a bad day for me. It is a bad day for the United States. It's a bad day for moms and their kids because we don't know what's coming next. But it's time this nonsense has to end. RFK Jr. needs to be fired. RFK Jr. needs to be gone from that group, and we need to get true scientists back in. I don't know if we can do it, but we have to.
And once again, just to refer back to some of the things that have been pointed to today, and I even made this point off the top of the show, everything that's going on in Los Angeles and California with ICE coming in heavy in all these immigrant communities, it distracts from stuff along the lines of what I've just told you about RFK Jr. I mean, it gets lost in the wash. There's just so much going on. So between all the stuff that's shoehorned and embedded in that big, beautiful bill, as he calls it, the idea somehow that the president doesn't have to respond to any kind of injunctive order, it's sort of an extension of the president's immunity that's already been conferred to him by the Supreme Court. All of these things are, and there's other stuff too, of course, embedded in that bill. Again, that's not being talked about at all in the mainstream media. Most people don't even know about it. And so similarly on RFK Jr. and the immunization board. Now, these are all things that are important. But again, they don't get any media oxygen because of all the media oxygen being taken up by the completely concocted story that is being played out as a narrative that Donald Trump wants in Los Angeles, with heavy ICE presence going into these communities at Home Depot, in the fashion district, at restaurants. And all of this is creating a ripple effect. Then this 4-block protest goes on, and there is legit violence going on against those Waymo vehicles and against CHP vehicles, et cetera. And all of those images and all of that controversy, and then the deployment of the National Guard and the deployment of Marines, it's this way theatrical way in which they have stolen the media oxygen from some of these things, like this RFK Jr. thing. Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell, you'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.